Hey everyone, Lior is here with another Jumpstart Lightning episode. Today I have Megan with me to talk to me about Azure Automanage, everything in between. This is super exciting stuff. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, Lior is here with another Jumpstart Lightning episode. Today I have Megan with me to talk to me about Azure Automanage. Megan, how's it going?
Yeah, it's going great, Lior. Thanks so much for having me on.
Excited to have you. Today we're going to talk about some cool things, but Megan, first thing first, who you are and what is it that you do?
Yes, so my name is Megan McCrory, and I am a PM on the Azure Compute Engineering team. And I specifically work on a product called Azure Automanage, which we're going to really dive in deep today. But really, the whole goal for our product is to reduce the customer's operational burden when they're managing servers on a daily basis. So I'm excited to talk to you about it today.
Me too. So Megan, in this show, we're talking a lot about, in the context of Azure and Azure Arc and hybrid and all that, one of the recurring themes, something that we talk about a lot is compliance, security, governance, compliance, security, governance. And this is something that, we brought up in multiple episodes, but Automanage really take it to the next level. So the first question that I have for you is like, what is Automanage? Give me the breakdown here.
Yeah, definitely. So Azure Auto Manage, we are a new service inside of Azure that basically we allow customers to opt in to use what we call our best practice services. So
Mhm.
things that we recommend, things like Azure monitoring, Microsoft Defender for Cloud, and so on. And so rather than customers having to kind of figure out how to onboard to all of these set of services and configure them, we want to do that on your behalf. And not only that, but we really want to monitor these services throughout the lifetime to make sure that they stay configured as they should be. So this really goes well in hand with Azure Arc and like the governance scenario that you're talking about, because
Mhm.
Azure Arc allows customers to take advantage of the Azure management services, and Auto Manage can automatically configure them for you. And not only that, but we can monitor them for you as well. So the two really go well hand in hand. And that's where, from an Auto Manage standpoint, we can really add benefit to your
Mhm.
workloads where you can spend time elsewhere and not have to manage these on a daily basis.
Okay, so if I understand this correctly, and I've been working with Azure Arc enabled servers for a while now,
Mhm.
and also with Azure Policy, would it be fair to say that Automanage is somewhat all of that or merging all of that, but only on steroids? Like kind of put that on a rapid pace.
Exactly. So you're correct. Where we just kind of take it to the next level. So rather than you having to create individual policies to monitor all of this stuff individually, we can do it as a package service for you. So it's exactly that.
Loving it. All right, so Megan, I know that you have a demo to show me, so
Yes.
let's just dive right in.
Perfect. So here I am on the Azure homepage, and
Hmm.
what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take you to the Auto Manage Center. So I'm going to go ahead and type in the search bar for Auto Manage.
Hmm.
And here is where I can actually see under services that there's the Auto Manage Azure Machine Best Practices.
Okay.
So if I click on this is where it takes me to the home page where I can see, okay, I've got two options here. I can see my Auto Manage Machine Best Practices, and I can also go and I can manage configuration profiles. To start out, we're going to jump into the Azure Machine Best Practices, and I'm going to click on this Manage button. And what this will do is this is going to take me to the screen where I've got all of my auto managed machines.
Hmm.
However, if you don't have any auto managed machines yet, the screen will be empty where you can actually start enabling. And so let's actually walk through that experience first, and then we'll talk a little bit more about what all of these different columns mean after we go through the enablement experience.
Okay, show it to
So
me.
cool. I'm going to go ahead and click on this enable on existing machine. And here's where we basically have the meat of our service. The basics is the configuration profile. And this is what defines what are those set of services that we should configure for you from an auto managed standpoint. And we allow you to also, if you wanted to create a custom profile, which then would allow you to pick and choose from the set of services.
Hmm.
To begin with, though, we've got our two built-ins. So we have the Azure Best Practices Production, and we have Azure Best Practices Dev Test. And you might be wondering what exactly are inside of these profiles.
Yeah.
What does it mean? What are the differences between production and dev test? And with that, we have a nice kind of view here where you can actually see the details. So here under this configuration profile, here's where I can see is the best practice production. And I can
Hmm.
actually see all of the different services that Automanage will configure for you. These are a very opinionated set of lists. And so for all of these settings that we have, so for instance, if you onboard to the production profile, you will get anti-malware, and here are all of your anti-malware settings. And this is really comes from the cloud adoption framework. So this is a white paper that gets published around what are, if you're running a server in Azure or
Hmm.
connected through Azure Arc, what are the best practices and what are the recommended settings for these services. So what we've done is we basically taken that and we packaged it into these configuration profiles.
Hmm.
And this is what allows you to basically simply choose your profile with the set of services that you want, and then we can go and onboard you to them. So that's one of the nice things about this is you no longer have to go and manage each of these services individually. You can
Hmm.
do it all through Automanage itself.
And Megan, as I'm looking at the list, right? And you mentioned that this is also with, um, I want to say, an integration with the cloud adoption framework in the sense that it takes that under consideration. Is this something that users can go and deploy today?
Through the cloud adoption framework. So this definitely. So the cloud adoption framework is the white paper with the very
Hmm.
prescriptive definitions of exactly how you should be configured for each of
Right.
these services. So it's a very descriptive list. And when you go through it, it takes about 6 hours to set up everything for all of these different services. So
Hmm.
rather than having to go through that massive white paper to kind of set up your server for how you want it to be configured, you can just do so through Automanage, and we could actually do it for you on your behalf, and it will only take 10 to 15 minutes to set up rather than that
Hmm.
lengthy process.
Got it.
So users can pick and choose basically which route they want to go. But Automanage is just the simpler version of implementing the cloud adoption framework.
That's super cool. Okay, so now that I have the profile and I can do custom profile, what is the next step for me?
Yeah, so basically the next step here is so if I choose the production profile, once again, that's that really opinionated set of services. If you wanted to, you could once again choose that custom profile. And
Hmm.
here's where you could actually go and you could pick and choose from the list of services. So maybe you don't want, let's say, maybe you have your own anti malware service and you don't want to use
Hmm.
the Microsoft anti malware service. This is
Hmm.
where you can easily go and pick and choose from the list that fits your needs. And so, one thing that's really nice is we know from our customers that they have their own IT requirements. So, by
Hmm.
having this custom profile support, you can pick and choose from the set of services that are listed in that cloud adoption framework, but you can kind of pick and choose what fits you and your central IT team and all of your business units. So, this is what is really nice about kind of this custom profile option.
So custom profile is really for the folks that wants the nerd knobs, basically.
Yes. If they
Okay,
want to
gotcha.
be able to twist and turn all of the different settings and flexibility, and we're consistently adding to this too, this is where they would go if you really need that flexibility. But if you want to just have out of the box support and you want to just have the what Microsoft recommends for best practices, that's when these built-ins come really in handy because you don't have to worry about it. You know, it's what Microsoft suggests, so you can kind of rely on
Hmm.
it. So that's what's really nice about the built-ins, but it's also nice to have for customers with the flexibility on the custom profile side.
Gotcha. Okay, so pre-built profiles, custom
Yep.
profiles. Gotcha. All right. What's next? Like I already got the profile. I'm good to go.
Yep.
What do I need to do?
Next up is where you choose your machines. So this is basically what allows you to pick and choose. So you can say, I want all machines under a certain subscription, resource group, and whatnot. So what I'm going to do here is what's nice about Automanage is you can basically pick and choose the set of machines that you want this profile to be applied to. So I chose the production profile. And now what I can do is I can actually come in here and I can choose, let's say, just a couple machines that
Mm-hmm.
I want to onboard to. What's nice about this as well is that you can actually onboard to Windows and Linux, both alike. You can also, you'll notice here, we've got Azure virtual machines inside of this resource type. I know I've got some ARC machines over here, so I'm going to flip to, I think, page 5, where I actually can see some of my ARC machines show up here, both Windows and Linux. And so this really allows me to go and I can actually see I can enable virtual machines, ARC enabled servers, Windows and Linux. It doesn't matter. So that's one thing that's really nice about
Mm-hmm.
Automanage is that we can basically onboard anything as long as our dependent services can support it. So that's one thing that's really nice about this.
I really like the versatility. We always talk about the notion of single pane of glass, right? But a lot of the time, single pane of glass means different things to different people. Sometimes it's getting caught in the buzzword bingo. But when you're looking at something like Automanage and you literally see everything in the same, in the same space, in the same workspace that you just showed me, Linux, Windows, Arc-enabled servers, that really emphasized that concept of single control plane to rule them all. So I really like that.
Exactly. We wanted to make it easy. So you don't have two different enablement experiences, one for VMs and one for Arc servers. We just wanted to have everything combined to make it really simple for customers.
Gotcha. Okay.
So next up, I'm just going to go ahead and hit on this review and create button. And so here it's validating to make sure that all of the machines are eligible for enrollment. So some things that we check is, for instance, Azure Automanage. We're in a lot of the most popular public Azure regions, but there's some regions that we're not in, like Brazil South. So
Mhm.
it will do we do a quick check on the regions, a quick check on the actual Linux distros to make sure that all of the Linux distros that you've chosen are supported. So there's just a couple things that we do here, but it looks like all 5 of the machines that I chose are eligible. So
Okay.
now I can just hit on the create button. And after that, all of those services that were inside of that production profile will start to be applied for this given set of machines. So here I can see that some of them have already moved to this new state that I've
Mhm.
chosen. And this is where I can see the Arc machine here down below. So this is actually what's really nice is that rather than once again me going to each and individual service and trying to will all happen within 10 to 15 minutes, and all of these machines will be configured to that production profile automatically.
Gotcha. So the moment that you hit the create button, that's the moment that those profiles are getting mapped into those virtual machines, right? One thing that I'm curious about, Megan, is, I always, personally, I always preach about tags. It's one of those features that are embedded in the control plane in Azure Resource Manager, right? But
Yep.
people are just, not using. So I'm like, okay, how do we think about tags in the context of Automanage?
Yeah, that's a really great question, Lior. And this is one where, too, we love to be able to assign profiles based off of tags. So, one thing that we can do is whenever you're selecting machines, you can actually filter by tags. So, you can say, okay, anything with the tag of environment production should get the production profile. And so, it's an easy way for you to go and basically assign profiles based off of tags.
Gotcha.
Another thing that we have is we'll actually take a look at our built in policy here in a minute if you want to
Mhm.
apply this at scale through our policy. And in our policy itself, you can actually say, I want to use a custom profile and I want it
Mm,
applied to all virtual machines and Arc enabled servers with a given key value pair within a given scope. So it makes it really easy if you tag your resources to then be able to say, based off of a tag, I want this profile to be used for this machine.
Love it. I always said that governance starts with tags. That's kind of my motto when it comes to governance. And my next question was about to be, what is the relations between Automanage and Azure Policy?
That's a really good question, one that we get oftentimes. So, really, from an auto managed standpoint, we are a way. So, the way that we work is we basically generate a template that we use in our profile, and we
Hmm.
assign that template, or we go and apply that template to the machine. And one thing that we do is we actually do a drift detection service. So, we actually check to make sure that the machine stays conformant with the given profile that it's been assigned to. So, this is what the status column means. So
Hmm.
here I can see I've got some machines that are conformant, these ones that are still in the new state that are eventually going to turn to
Yeah.
either the conformant state. But basically, we have this service that runs, and we basically do a check to see, okay, here's the configuration profile that they want to assign, and here's what it looks like in template form. Let me check that against the actual settings of the machine to make sure it's the same.
Gotcha.
So we use that kind of logic here on the auto manage side. But what's nice is that we actually then have a built-in policy that allows customers to use this at scale. So
Mm,
we actually don't use policy in our backend to monitor this. We use this template comparison offering that we've got inside of Azure. However, we do have this built-in policy that allows you to then be able to apply auto manage to all new and future VMs. So that's really nice because a lot of customers want to say that they want everything to be auto managed with a given profile,
Mm-hmm.
but they want all future machines too to be enabled. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where by assigning that built-in policy, you can really do that at scale and know that any machine under that scope will be applied with that policy.
Got it. Okay, so you enable the policies or the
Yep.
profile. Sorry. What's next? Like, what is it that I need to look at?
Yeah, so everything that's next is monitoring just this status. So ideally, in the happy path, everything looks good and everything stays conformant. So one thing that you can see here is I do have some statuses that are unknown. So
Mm-hmm.
for instance, if I click on one of these, this is basically what brings up what we call our status report. And once again, we have that drift service that runs. And so we'll actually see inside of the status report, what was the last time that ran? And then two, what is the report that it's showing me? And so here I can actually see the last time that this ran was on 8/10, so
Mm-hmm.
August 10th of 2022 at 11:44.
Yeah.
And we have here that the error is that the virtual machine agent status isn't ready. And that's actually a prerequisite for auto manage to work end to end. So we can make sure that,
Got
for
it.
instance, the extensions are applied correctly and we can actually get a signal from the VM to monitor this. And so that is one where you can check these status reports just to make sure just to make sure that everything is configured as it should be. And if something's not configured as it should be, you can kind of dig
Mm-hmm.
into these errors to then go and turn on the virtual machines agent. And then auto manage will automatically kick in to try to make the machine come to the conformant state to the profile that it's assigned to.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of the next step, is monitoring these statuses to make sure everything's in that conformant state.
All right. And also seeing your tabs there, I see Arc server and I also see policy. Like,
Yes.
what are the things that we need to think about here?
Yeah, so one thing that was kind of cool is we actually did the work. So whenever you browse to an individual Arc server, one thing
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of nice here is inside of the table of contents, we actually have an auto manage offering here where if you wanted to just apply this to an individual Arc server, you could do so. So this is something that's kind of nice. So if you want to just try it out on one machine, you can come to your Arc server blade and you can easily onboard it here by just clicking the enable button and choosing your profile. So that's
Gotcha.
something that's really nice that we've got, and this will automatically take an effect if you wanted to do it on a single machine level versus kind of the multi-select.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's one offering. We also then, like I mentioned, have that built-in policy. So here I am on the policy tab, and I basically filtered for my categories to be auto manage here.
Mm.
And whenever I do that on this definitions, I basically get these policies. And the two that I want to talk about a little bit are the configure virtual machines to be onboarded with auto manage with a custom configuration profile,
Mm-hmm.
or this one with to configure virtual machines to be onboarded to auto manage. And this is for the built-in profiles.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is what's nice is, once again, if you want to use this at scale to make sure that whatever scope you choose will be making sure that all of the machines under that scope will be auto managed with the profile you choose, you
Mm-hmm.
can easily come and assign this policy. So by taking a look at the definition here, we can easily see that there are offerings here that we can basically come and look at. And one thing I wanted to call out is that this policy will work for both virtual machines and Arc enabled servers here. So basically you could do either, and whatever scope you choose, all machines under that scope will be auto managed with the profile that you choose once you hit this assign button and then you choose your profile.
And like any other policy, this can be done on either a resource group or a subscription level. So that really, kind of emphasize the notion of at scale policy, apply policy. So I really like the fact that we have like dedicated policies that looking at the custom profiles and the built-in profiles for Automanage. So that's cool.
Yes, exactly. And it makes it really easy. Just select your subscription, select your profile, apply any kind of tagging parameters that you want behind it, and then you're good to go. So it makes it really simple and easy.
All right. And Meagan, to wrap things up, I really like the portal experience. I also know that that you guys work with us on a Jumpstart scenario for Automanage. Talk to me about that for a second.
Yeah, definitely. So if you're, as you know, we've been working with you guys and it's been great to actually come up with our Jumpstart scenarios. So here under the Jumpstart, we actually have under the unified operation use cases, you can see Auto Manage, Azure Auto Manage here. And
Mhm.
this is where you can really be able to dig into how you can actually apply this through an ARM template. You can look more at the services that we onboard customers to for ARC enabled servers.
Mhm.
And it just gives you a lot of details around being able to apply this and to apply it through a template that you can then implement into your own automation if you wanted to. So this is a really cool guide that you can walk through to get started through enabling this through templates if you choose versus policy or portal. We
Mhm.
support it all. So whichever way you want to run with it, you can onboard to auto manage.
Loving it. Well, Megan, thank you so much for walking me through this, to this cool demo. Definitely, the portal experience is very slick. I mean, you can see that right off the bat. The fact that, like I mentioned, the single control plane to rule them all, seeing everything in the Azure portal. I'm super excited about this. And I think my last question will be, I saw what is available right now. Talk to me for a second about the North Star. Obviously, we can share roadmap stuff here in Jumpstart Lightning, but still, what is the North Star? What are we thinking about here?
I mean, really, our possibilities are endless. Anything under the sun that can help customers reduce their operational burden, we want to help with. Our whole goal is to make the lives easier of our customers who have to manage servers on a day to day basis. So, we're thinking really long term about how we can better incorporate different products that allow you to easily be able to not have to worry about those day to day management tasks. Let us handle it for you on the auto manage side. So we've got a lot of cool things coming up on our roadmap that we're excited and that we're working on. And so
Mhm.
definitely stay tuned, and we'll definitely hopefully be having more of these jumpstart sessions that we can talk about once we've got more uh, announced that we can release.
Definitely. Beautiful. So, Megan, obviously, we'll share details how to reach out to you in the description below for this episode. For the Jumpstart audience, thank you so much for supporting us. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more PMs like Megan coming to the show and showing you all this goodness and other people from the community showing their use cases with Azure Arc, with hybrid, and everything in between. Megan, I want to wrap things up with just saying thank you so much for joining me. And for the Jumpstart audience, we're going to see you next time. Bye,
Yeah,
everyone.
thanks so much, Lior.